most people want to say, no, it ain't my fault, because they have a physical reaction to that. Stay calm, because when we get into an elevated emotional state, we lose 40 to 60% of our intelligence. Take extreme ownership of everything. There is no blame game. So it starts with the leader, right? There are no bad teams. There's only bad leaders. So if you can create emotional intelligence as a leader and you don't pop off, you don't get upset, you don't bring your home life to work, you're able to stay calm and emotionally intelligent, that resonates throughout your company. So to me, that would be the biggest thing, is to stay calm, because when we get into an elevated emotional state, we lose 40 to 60% of our intelligence. All right. And so to keep yourself in a calm state of mind, that would be number one. And then learn to master that book, that I mentioned earlier, Jocko's books on extreme ownership. Take extreme ownership of everything. There is no blame game. When I first started utilizing that book, when you sit down in a meeting and you take ownership of a problem, we flooded a building in our fire division, and I'm not a fire guy. I couldn't hang a sprinkler head if I tried. But we flooded a building, and everybody knows that I'm not a sprinkler man. I sit in a room after flooding a 30-story building, and I'm the boss in there, and I'm trying to come up with a solution. I had to find a way to make that problem 100% my fault when I walked into that room, and I did it with sincerity. I asked the guys, hey guys, this is my fault, and I need you guys' help fixing this. And they would say, that, how could this be your fault? I was like, no, who's ever been trained on a sure-off to make sure that this wouldn't have happened? They all raised their hand. None. Nobody did. I said, so for years, you guys have all been doing this work, and nobody's had any training on how to shut off a system properly? No. I said, well, that's my fault. So we go, and then the room starts popping off. No, it ain't your fault, Mike. I could have done this. It ain't your fault. I could have done this. And as it moves around the room, we have 5, 6, 7, 8 action items to improve the company off of a mistake that was a pretty big mistake, but we got better from it. Had I walked in there and started pointing at people and getting mad, everybody would have been on defense mode, and we'd never come up with one solution. But it takes an emotionally intelligent leader to be able to take ownership of it, because most people want to say, no, it ain't my fault, because they have a physical reaction to that. If you could get rid of that ego and take ownership of a problem, it makes your company better. If there's somebody in the room that doesn't need to be there, make the right decision and get rid of them, but do it calmly and, appropriately.